you doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
Congratulations on all nominations.
Thank you.
Dream Scenario was probably one of my favorite movies of the year.
Thank you for saying
I
that.
love when you got that script. What was your like? What were you thinking? All right, this is how I have to tackle it in a certain way.
Well, the first thing I thought was the title. Two of my favorite words, dream and scenario combined. I knew it would be a marvelous script, and when I read it, I was not surprised that it was one of the 5 best scripts I ever read in my entire body of work. And I knew that I had a life experience to play the part without a lot of acting, because my memification, I thought, was a perfect source for Paul Matthews' dreamification.
Well, on top of that, with Renfield, you looked like you were having a blast making that film.
I was.
I know you're a big horror buff.
Sure.
Is there anything down the line you'd want to sink your teeth into besides Dracula, another monster?
All of them have merit and have challenge for an actor to, as you just sink your teeth into the Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, any even the Mummy. I mean, I also enjoy the Hammer horror films, but I think Universal horror and the Hammer horror are really the gold standard, and they provided actors opportunities to show the vulnerability of the experience of being a so-called monster.
Last question. Are we getting that face off too?
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you so much,
We'll
Nick.
see.
Appreciate it, brother.
I know that, I speak for Angel and Garrett and the rest of the Blue Beetle team when I say that truly what we wanted to do was make this film for people like yourself and people like my family. And I know that it might be the first time we've seen, a Latino in a lead in a superhero before, live action, but it won't be the last. And I hope that Blue Beetle opens the door to everyone else's favorite superhero. And I just can't wait to see where we take them next.
With The Abyss coming out in 4K, were you watching that? Was there ever anything now, looking back at it, that you wanted to change, or is it exactly what you wanted?
Well, we're releasing it as the release version and as the quote unquote director's cut or special edition. Over time, I would say the special edition is the one you want to watch, and so we got a chance to finish that. Now, we finished that back in '91, a couple years after it was originally released, but seeing it now in 4K and with such a beautiful transfer, film really holds up. I was kind of surprised. I do some things with CG now that I wouldn't do that. Wasn't able to do that, but it does have the first kind of soft surface CG character that was ever in a movie embedded within that film. The pseudopod, so-called pseudopod sequence. So it's pretty fun to see the amount of excitement there is around this release all these years later,
It was a movie my father introduced me to. My father's the big sci-fi guy in our family, so he's the one that had me watching all your movies. And I just want to say thank you for Avatar and building such a beautiful world and fighting to make such a beautiful world, because I feel like that's something we don't get enough of anymore.
I think movies have forgotten to be beautiful at times, especially in the science fiction genre. We're always dealing with these sort of grim futures, and they're always sort of desaturated and just dark conceptually, and I wanted to celebrate beauty. I mean, we're celebrating nature. We're celebrating human culture through the lens of an alien culture. Why shouldn't it be beautiful?
Awesome. Paul, can I steal you for 2 seconds? Okay, you're like, maybe, yes, sort of.
How are you?
Run away, it's okay. I'm a crazy Vampire Diaries girl. So nice to meet you. I am a Vampire Diaries girl, and I'm really proud to watch your career and how it's blossomed. My sister and I watch Star Trek together, and we both agree that your version of Kirk is the best interpretation, because so many people who take him on just play him as a womanizer, and we find that you have actually figured out who he is as a person at his core, and not just a man who likes all the ladies no matter what color they are.
Right. Well, a lot of my there's a book actually called The Autobiography of James C. Kirk, and it's obviously, the whole thing is fiction, but it's obviously written by someone who interpreting James Kirk as and his adolescence and just sort of growing up and becoming who he is. And a lot of it is so, for me, I drew a lot of inspiration from that book. He is not this womanizer. He's a guy who really cares about his job. He is really good at his job. He has a lot of morals, a lot of integrity. Of course, has romantic relationships, but that's not really the sort of like center for James Kirk. And so, but a lot of that is also the writing. Strange New Worlds is written so well, and they give me so much room to play. And so I got to give them a huge nod, obviously, because I couldn't do what I'm doing without them.
And you got nominated for it, didn't you, for tonight?
Yes. I'm very honored, very humble.
So nice to meet you. I am an OG Chucky fan, and I just need to know, did you ever think that Chucky, a doll possessed by Charles Lee Ray, would make it this far? How many years later are we? We have a show, multiple movies, multiple incarnations.
6 years later this year. No, I didn't think that. I didn't think it would become a TV show. I didn't know anything about TV back then, so no, it's been quite a journey and amazing. It's been awesome, really fun. And we're really proud of Zach. He's here. He is.
Group effort and everybody. We're celebrating everybody today. Like that,
but especially Zach.
No.
Yeah, so I have a film called Destroy All Neighbors on Shudder that I'm starring in with Jonah Ray Rodriguez, who's amazing. And I'm buried under prosthetic makeup, sort of like I am in the Bill and Ted and Lost Boys movies. So it's a ton of fun. I don't know why I like working in heavy makeup so much. I don't know what it says about me, but the movie's a blast. It's a comedy more than a horror film.
I love that. I love the mix of like camp and horror. It just brings a whole different level and element to everything.
Totally. It's theatrical. Horror is already kind of theatrical by nature. And if you bring extreme physical comedy to it, it just gets super theatrical. It's a lot of fun.
Tron, 40 years ago, did you ever think that a film you were in would have multiple spin-offs, a ride at Disneyland, and this must influence decades later?
Well, having inaugurated that ride in Disneyland in Orlando, that really drives it home for me because I kept telling them, I'm not exactly at the age to be riding roller coasters. But when I walked up to the things, my two sons, Sam and Lee, were with me. They're grown men, too. My son Lee said, Dad, look around. There were hundreds of people, press all over the place. This big sign of Tron, light cycle experience. And he said, Dad, I think you have to ride the ride. And I went to the publicist and I said, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'm going to ride off. She was in love after that. But 42 years later, whatever it is, I can't name too many other movies that in our pop culture that have grown over that time and actually speak to us. So, video game world,
And
it is. I've answered question of it for those many years, and I know they're in production now on Tron Ares, and I wish them all the luck in the world. And it's a wonderful thing that it's going on.
And so you're working with your brother again, and you're gonna play a certain character, Maxwell, billionaire, millionaire. I don't know, one of those.
I can neither confirm nor deny the rumors that I'm playing Maxwell. Lord. I can tell you that those rumors have not been denied for sure, but they have also not been confirmed. So ask me that question again, maybe in a couple months.
I promise I'll give you back. It's nice to see you again. I want to talk Picard with you and what it was like for you to work with that original cast.
Hacks. All hacks. They have nothing. No. Look, I had the good fortune of being directed by Jonathan in the past. And so he sort of primed the room for me before I ever got there. And it was nothing but an absolute thrill. I mean, I got to tell the kind of stories that I love to consume with people that I love to work with. You know what I mean?
Were you nervous at all? Because I'm assuming, like the rest of us, you were a big fan.
I'm 55, meaning the job... It didn't really hit me until the premiere and the fans showed up and I saw my uniform in a glass case. I'm like, oh, Star Trek. Right. Because I was honored to work with great people, but when you meet a person, it's not the poster, it's not the TV show, it's a person. But then when you go to the thing and you see the poster, that's when your mind starts blowing.
Since you've done so much at this point, I always find sci-fi and fantasy to be so influential but so overlooked. So we have the Saturn Awards. So talk to me about how it's influenced your life and your career.
Oh, you find the most amazing people that are invested in these, these stories, no matter what character, what story is involved in sci-fi. It's like, it's got so much more heart than people realize. There's so much more depth. And, people can get so stuck on, the look of it. And it's just, you actually, not many people dive super deep into the characters. And I think that's kind of like something that I wish would happen a bit more,
Is this your first Saturn Awards?
Yeah.
What are you the most excited about for being here?
I mean, I'm pretty excited that Fall got nominated for Best Indie. Thank you. It was brutal. So it feels kind of weird thinking about it was just Ginny and I on the tower, just the two of us sharing this experience of stunts and bugs and our whole crew, but it felt so intimate and so small. So it feels really special to now have it be recognized here, know that people are watching it, they're watching our trauma.
Welcome. Is this your first Saturn Awards?
This is my first Saturn Awards, yes.
What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited because it's the 51st, which is a really good number, and it's my first one, so I'm excited to be here. And also, I'm very excited because there's so many cool people here, and I'm a kind of a sci-fi fantasy nerd, so this for me is kind of awesome.
Are you presenting tonight?
I am. I'm presenting Best Sci-Fi Science Fiction Television Series.
What is your favorite series this year?
Oh, this year? Oh, well, I mean, I'm here with my co-star from 12 Monkeys. I'm going to do a plug for 12 Monkeys, obviously. I have to.
What is it about sci-fi and fantasy that is special to you? Like, did it influence you as an actor when you were younger? Where did you find your love for it?
I mean, you mentioned Jodie's journey from center stage. I think with sci-fi, the journeys and the stories are endless. And that's what makes it so exciting as an audience member. But that's also what makes it so creatively exciting and challenging as an actor.
What makes this the best award show to come to?
These are my people. This is our tribe, right? This is sci-fi. This is horror. These are the genres that I think are resonating more so in the last 10 or so years than they ever have. And this was sort of a marginalized genre, and I think it's coming on strong. It's sort of the dark horse of award shows, but there's some legitimate awards. I mean, I'm standing next to James Cameron, for crying out loud. So, I mean, come on. I heard Keanu Reeves is going to be here. I mean, Joel McHale is hosting. This is legit, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of it.
I always like to ask, because sci-fi, fantasy, horror are my favorite, and I feel like they're secretly everyone's favorite, but they don't get the respect as a lot of other things. And if you were to dispel that for people and why it's so amazing, what would you say?
There's some truth in that. I think that there is a lack of respect for sci-fi, just the genre in general. And I don't know if I could say that the fans feel a lack of respect. To me, they're the most loyal. They're the most insane. You go to these conventions, Comic-Con, Dragon Con, all over the world in different countries. There's a loyalty. There's a fierce loyalty to the genre, to the product, to what we create. And these people own it, and they embrace it. And you become an extension of their world and their outlet. And that's important to them. And we don't want to do that a disservice. So I think that's why I want to come back and keep doing these things, because without that audience, what are we doing? There's no reason to make the show. So it's for the fans, it's for the audience.
Oh, brother, I'm a huge Mondo fan. From the vinyls to the posters to even the action figures. What do you have coming up next that you're excited about that you can kind of share with us or give us a hint about? Because every few months you guys had something big coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have some amazing releases coming up in the next couple weeks. Definitely some awesome Godzilla stuff to keep an eye on, poster-wise, collectible-wise. We're all huge Godzilla fans over here, so definitely some amazing Godzilla stuff coming down the pipeline at Mondo.
With all of the Star Wars universes, Ahsoka's getting a new season, Mandalorian's kind of crossing into Boba Fett. Who in the Star Wars universe would you love to share the screen with?
It's too many. I mean, I know, Mark Hamill.
sort of shared the screen with Mark, but and he came on set and visited with us, so that was such a coup. But it would be wonderful to somehow interact with him through the Force or whatever, with Luke, and of course, Han Solo, same thing through the Force, and of course our beautiful princess, the original OGs. Come on, I love that. Yes,
love that.
Now, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you're a huge Star Wars fan and collector of collectibles.
Yes.
Is there anything coming up that you want to get your hands on, like a new sideshow collectible? Because I've seen I've seen some of your pickups, and it's wild.
You're going to force me to tell the truth in front of my wife about collectibles. Yeah, actually, there are two things. There is a Clint Eastwood, Harry Callahan figure that's pretty wild looking, and they're doing a Toshiro Mifune as Yojimbo, as well as a Kurt Russell as McCready. So those are the holy grail figures for 2024. Okay, honey. My poor wife, I swear. You were looking at the most patient and understanding woman on the planet.
What was it like being in House Usher, having such an insane role? The effects in it were wild.
Yeah.
It was so gory. I loved it.
It was a lot of fun. It was a little bit off the beaten track for Mike Flanagan, and I had a chance to really do some fun things with the character. So it was a lot of fun for me. I hope everybody else enjoyed it.
I haven't seen you an asshole like that, so that was that was perfect. It's perfect for you. Now, I know you love working with Mike. Are you going to be in the new Dark Tower series?
Well, nothing's on paper yet as far as my participation, but I have my fingers crossed.
It's been a minute. I feel like since you've done like a thriller, a horror. Do you want to keep doing those? Like, is that on the agenda?
Great time. To be honest, sometimes I don't always watch them because I get so scared, but it's really fun acting in them, and I love getting to play the Suitable Flesh is a body swapping movie. As you know, it's fun to play different characters.
Tell me about the process of like kind of diving into each one for you.
Well, I create a whole backstory and just think about their motivations and their intentions, and I don't know, it's just really fun. I don't usually get to play like an evil demon, so it's fun to play an evil demon.
We say the villains are the best, right? They're